Hi, everyone. This is Ruth Theresa with One Inspiring Woman, and today I am live for Thursday Night Live, but I'm not alone in the house. I have Tina with me.
Hello. Hello.
A little bit louder.
Hello.
So she is going to be asking me some amazing questions, and people are going to be jumping on and talking about things. But there are some amazing questions out in the world. So these are kind of some of the ones that have been like burning through Tina's mind, like kind of like, I really need an answer. And I thought y'all might really enjoy kind of connecting with this energy as well. So that's kind of like a fun one for us, is like connecting with that energy. So Tina's going to ask some questions. I'm going to answer them. I've also got my angel cards. I will not be doing any outside questions besides what she's asking unless that question pertains to what she's asking me. I'm only saying on topic. So love you guys. We'll have to wait for another Thursday night for you to ask me all the other questions. But just so you keep in touch, it's one of those. But Tina, what's our first topic?
Our first topic is timeline shifting. Timeline shifting. A lot of people have been talking about it online. They've been experiencing. They feel like time is speeding up, and we've been talking about that for several years. But timeline shifting has been a hot topic. So first, I just want to ask you, like, what is a timeline shift? How could someone, in a simple way, understand what it is?
I guess the best way to understand is timelines are not the same as dimensions.
Okay.
So they're completely different.
Okay.
When people talk about jumping timelines, it's completely different than people talking about like moving up in dimensions. They're completely two different things. They sound somewhat similar, and they're kind of in the same idea, but they can be as different as sitting on the back of a turtle and walking and going in a spaceship. Like they're all about moving forward, but how you move forward is completely different. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like it's all different versions. And you can jump forward in a timeline and jump back in a timeline.
Okay.
You can jump forward in a dimension and jump back into a dimension. So you can move forward and back. So in some areas you may be higher in a timeline or something like that, or shifting timelines. And the best way to put kind of like timelines is when you've got a fork in the road. Okay. So what's interesting is when you have a fork, you never have just like one option, like you can go left or right. No. We're talking, you may have 17 different avenues or 22 different avenues you could go. Now, the interesting part is that when you make that decision to go one way or the other, part of you stays on the original timeline.
Okay.
So you can all of a sudden you're on this timeline, and then all of a sudden you're starting to separate out. And then every dimension or every timeline that you go into, you're separating even more. So then you're separating and separating and separating, almost like a tree branch. The branch is really big, and then it separates into two. And then those two separate into 4 and 6 and 12. And so it's like, but you can always go back to the original timeline. Okay. So it's kind of like, that's kind of the energy of it.
Okay. So is there a reason that Spirit would have more timeline shifts occurring now rather than say?
So why would you say Spirit? Because you as a human are going to have timelines.
Spirits,
I see. Girl, they like above all of that. Does that make sense? Like,
it does.
They're above all of that. So just the way you're asking is incorrect.
I see.
Does that make sense? Like what you're asking isn't even like, you're asking like, how did Archangel like Archangel Michael? He'd be like, I don't care. Pick one. I don't care. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So that's not something that they would ever deal with in any way, shape, or form. But the interesting part is, as humans, we deal with this. Now they can guide us and lead us in different directions, but it's up to us to make the choice.
Okay, so I'm seeing what you're saying now. So it's a human thing. It doesn't have anything to do with jumping forward in timelines to move us as a group, like a society, forward.
No, it's an alone journey.
It's an alone journey.
It's an alone journey.
Okay.
Now you may meet some people along your pathway, and you may have felt like this at different times in your life. Just most people have. Like like day number 1, everybody started a new job. You know what I'm saying? Like so there's a lot of new, like you could be on that start line at the same time. But with your knowledge or information or someone else's knowledge and information, you could be like, boom, now I'm catapulted to 2 years into the job on my first day. So it's does it make sense? So it's kind of like, it's all about a human experience.
And that experience is probably to help you grow.
Right.
Okay.
It's all about you learning how to deal with energy, how to grow, how to deal with things that like your spirit is trying to learn or learn in a different way.
How similar is this to doing progressions and regressions that we do as psychics?
So when you go into a progression, meaning moving forward on this timeline, you are going to see the most likely options that you're going to take.
Right.
In the past, you always chose this.
Yep.
It's kind of like whenever you went to the restaurant, you always chose spaghetti for dinner.
Right.
So with that in mind, every time you had an option to eat something else, you chose spaghetti.
Okay.
So most likely you're going to do this.
Okay.
Or if your option was always like to argue and fight about it with someone, and you're like, I don't want to argue and fight. Like you're going to be like, okay, I'm going to take the peaceful way. So every time you take the peaceful way, they're like, oh, this is what she always does. So they're trying to portray what is your possible outcome in your life. But you can go, today I'm going to talk to everybody. I'm going to tell them the truth. That shirt is ugly. I don't like you. You've been treating me bad, whatever it is.
Right.
And now they've broken all those timelines. It's like they've shattered everything, going like,
oh, wow.
No, I'm not dealing with that. I'm doing a whole new me. I'm not dealing with this again.
Okay.
Like kind of like a people pleaser said, I'm not pleasing anybody but myself for a while. And now it's like, wait, now you've chosen completely different. That's going to put you in a whole new timeline and possibly could move you in dimensions as well, because all those timelines were holding you back. You always chose, I'm not going to say anything.
Right.
You know, they took my parking space. I'm not going to say anything. They stole my husband. I'm not going to say anything. They stole my blah, blah, blah. They stole that. I'm not going to do any of that. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Like how you deal with it is going to be a whole new idea.
Is it possible to shift timelines and not know you're doing it?
Oh, yeah. Most people don't even realize they're
How
doing
do they know? How would somebody know and reflect and be like, I think I just shifted the timeline?
Sometimes you can feel something. It depends on you personally. Like, are you aware of what's going on?
Right.
Sometimes you can feel something like a little movement or whatever else. I can usually tell because I feel woozy for a moment. It's like, whoa. And I'll like, not like you stand up, like I've been sitting down for 10 hours and I stand up and I'm like, woo, not like that. Like I'll still be like, this feels different. Or someone will say something and I'll be like, we were talking about that? Like what? And I'll be realized like, oh, I shifted timelines and they weren't aware of it. And so then I'll be really careful, like, okay, now explain to me again what we were talking about. Like just tell me one more time.
That's cool. That's really interesting. That may have actually happened to me, and I didn't know.
Yes, it can be a very subtle thing. So unless you're looking for the signs, you're not going to find them very easily sometimes. Because you're not supposed to always know.
That's true, I would imagine. And I was thinking, okay, so is there some profound thing that you're supposed to get from it, or is it just giving you options, looking at options?
So if we're going back to scenario number one, we're going down a pathway and we have 20 different timelines we could go, different things.
Right.
Don't choose what you normally choose.
Don't choose what you normally choose.
Yeah. If you're always like, I don't want to fight with you, but so I'm all, instead of like, and I don't mean like an argument or punch each other out. Like, I don't want to argue with you because you took my parking space, but I'm just going to say, you know, what you did was rude. Right. And I don't like what you did. Right. And move on with life. Right. That's something different than I would normally do. Right. That's switching me into like a different timeline.
It keeps you from not being stuck.
Everything else. And a lot of times, like people be like, I'm avoiding conflict in every shape, form, fashion, or whatever else. And it's like, what the heck? Like, not every conflict has to be a fight. Right. It can just be like, the truth is,
setting a boundary.
You did this and I don't like it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to tell you that you did that, whatever it is, and it's looking at life completely different than you did before.
I like that. Okay, I think that was good. I was really I'm really interested in it, but now I'm understanding even more. I'm gonna have to think about it some more and like try to notice if I'm time shifting.
Time shifting is really good, and kind of like a lot of times, like you'll think about reacting differently.
Exactly.
That's like your main thing. Like you want to know that you're changing. You want to react differently than you have been.
Because I tend to get stuck. And so
most people do.
If I'm doing the same thing,
if you're always choosing the same thing, choose something different.
Oh, I like that. I like it. Okay, so our next topic is going to be about realignment with the higher self. Which it just came to me. Someone must have been putting it out there and it just came to me. And so we're going to talk about it. So what are some signs that we've connected with our higher self?
Kind of the best way to know is that you'll always know where you came from, like, and everything else. And this could mean like your childhood here on earth,
Mhm.
like I'm grounded in who I was.
Mhm.
But it could also mean grounded in who you were in a
Mhm.
star seat on a different planet
Mm.
and how they dealt with life. And that's going to give you a different perspective than being on earth. But you're always going to remember, like, this was my past. Like, this was
Mhm.
yesterday. I did this, and the day before I did this. It's kind of
Mhm.
like changing that energy, and you're realigning with yourself. Really, the better way to put this
Mhm.
is, it's really not the best wording for it. And it's not that
Right.
you've done anything wrong. I'm
Right.
just saying, like, higher self means your soul.
Your soul.
You're
Yeah.
reconnecting to your soul.
To your,
But
yeah.
we're saying it as a higher self, but really the word you should be using is your
soul.
soul, because your soul is the same. And I will say, what's interesting is, for this life, I chose this meat suit that looks like
Mhm.
this.
Mhm.
This color eyes, this color hair, this color skin, all
Yeah.
this kind of, this is,
Yeah.
and I don't know why I picked so short. Like, what the heck was I thinking with that kind of like craziness right there kind of thing. But in a past life, I had darker skin. I
Mhm.
remember having lifetimes where I had darker,
Mhm.
warmer colored skin,
Mhm.
and being really tall,
Mhm.
like, like 20,
Hmm.
30 feet tall kind of thing. Not just
Wow.
like, not like 6 foot tall or whatever else,
Right.
but like, I remember
Very
those
tall.
lifetimes of being very tall.
So in connecting with those lifetimes through your soul connection,
Right.
how does that help you to grow where you are?
It's more of a remembering.
More of a
Remembering of those lifetimes. So it's kind of like, you think of everything that you've learned in your life.
Mm-hmm.
As a child, you probably learned if you were a righty or a lefty. Are you a person who do with the right or left? Everything else. So everything else, you didn't wake up today and go, I don't know which hand to put this in. Like,
Right.
I don't know. I
Right.
don't know. I don't know which hand.
Mhm.
No, you've already learned this.
Okay.
So if you go back to every life lesson you've ever learned in your entire lifetimes,
Mhm.
Mhm. There's a lot of things that you're going, it's just remembering.
Right.
I require remembering
Mhm.
that lifetime and what were those life lessons that I learned that I don't have to go back and relearn.
Okay.
And I can move forward.
So your soul is going to definitely want you to connect.
At some
those.
point, your soul is going to call you to that, to
Ooh.
reconnect and everything else. And if you're willing to do it, if you are not willing to do it, if you were like, I'm on earth and that's all that's around me and I'm not going to think about anything else, I'm not going to do anything else, this is it.
This is it.
Your soul's going to be like, okay, I'm going to sit on the sideline and eat bonbons.
So
because you're not asking me to do it. And that's okay. There are lifetimes where you're kind of like, I want to learn more. I want to go in depth.
Right.
So the best way to connect to those past lives is meditation.
Oh, so the best way to connect is meditation. So the best way you're connecting to your past life,
right.
your soul.
Now, and sometimes, like, if you get stuck in your past lives, going to the Akashic records can really help, kind of give you some insight.
Yeah.
Like, I'm kind of getting some of these and not really getting some of these. That's kind of the energy of it.
That's really interesting. I'm glad that we cleared it up. So not really higher self, but connecting to your soul.
Your soul is your higher self.
Is your higher self. And thinking of those, I would imagine those previous lives help you to grow here and maybe even not make some mistakes that you've made.
Right. And so it's kind of like, what are those energies that you need to move into and take care of and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, interesting.
Okay. Well, that was really interesting. So I'm gonna have to do some more thinking about that one.
Like,
that was really deep. Okay, so I guess kind of segueing into reconnecting with the soul, you're gonna have to have some type of spiritual awakening at some point if you're getting to that point, like where you want to connect with your soul.
Right.
So the next topic is relationships and a spiritual awakening. So the first question is: are more people experiencing spiritual awakenings now?
So ever since. We kind of went to the Mayan calendar, 2012, moving into shifting that energy, moving into the Aquarian age. All of that is shifting the energy lighter and lighter.
Oh, okay.
Now, there are some people, it's kind of like, that aren't moving.
Right.
And everything else. And those are usually the people that end up passing away because they can't shift with us. Right. And it's not like everybody who's not shifting is staying in the same place.
Right.
It's one of those, some people are shifting really, really slow. So they're at the back of the pack. They're way at the back of the pack, where other people are like, I'm learning this life lesson. Let's go, 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 go.
Right.
They're in motion. They might sit for a little bit like, I'm sitting on the curb for a minute, like I'm going to take a break, but then I'm ready to go again.
Right.
Those are the people that are like, they're going to stay in the front of the pack.
And
then there's people that are in the back of the pack that they're kind of like, and then there's some people that are still at the starting line going like, why is everybody walking away? I don't know what's going on. And it's not a judgment. It's just what do you want to learn? I know
Yeah.
people that like literally they're asking about is like what's going on right here, right now. You know,
Right.
their love life, their blah blah blah, their business, like right now, instead of going like, what is my life purpose? What is my life path? How am I supposed to help people and humanity and all that kind of stuff? Those are the people that are starting on their life journey, on their spiritual journey in that area. So
and
it's kind of like
raising their vibration.
And it is. And the more you start thinking about like how our planets connect to us and how they disconnect from us, and how even our moon, how do we connect to the energy of the moon and everything else? Because some people are like, oh, the moon's just out there. It's like, oh, it's pretty tonight or whatever else, but they're not connecting to that energy.
They don't feel that energy.
They don't feel that energy.
And maybe they're not spiritually awoke.
And and that's okay.
And that's fine. Right now they're focused on
and for a long time on Earth, you know, in the 50s and 60s and stuff like that, like people were becoming aware, but there were still people that are like, I'm afraid of all that. I'm afraid of all that. And there are still people in that energy today. And I'm not saying they're all going to die because they're horrible. It's just they're not shifting forward. And I have clients that are in their 90s coming to see me about spiritual awakenings and like how did they get in touch with their abilities. So it's not like, oh, just because you're a certain age, you can't learn this.
Right. No. That's good to know.
And then I have clients that are age 2 and 3 years old. Their parents are going, like, they're talking to me backwards. And I said, no, they're talking to in their star language. They're like, you may sound backwards, but it's not.
Right.
Or like one client came to me and she said her 4-year-old still has not been very, very verbal. He'll like grunt about things. And I was like, because he's telepathically talking to you. And as long as you telepathically talk to him, why does he need to say anything? You know what I'm saying? It's like.
Not even realizing it.
Even realizing it.
Yep. Wow. So if someone is kind of like just starting out spiritually, what advice would you give them?
I will say find probably a psychic that you can work with. Doing classes are really a basic essential. Learning how to meditate is like essentially, and you know what I mean? Like learning how to meditate is essentially essential. Like you have to learn this. The other one I will say is doing something to celebrate the planets that you're connected to. And most people can be like, well, I'm a Virgo or I'm a Taurus or I'm a whatever. Do something just to honor that in some way. Literally, if you're like, I'm a Taurus, go get a little thing of a bull or something like that and honor that part of your journey. Doing something to honor who you are. What planets are you connected to? How were you connected to them? That's going to change your energy in so many amazing ways.
And I think finding someone to learn from is going to help grow your energy as well and grow your knowledge.
Finding the right one.
Yeah.
Finding the right one. And classes that are broken down into understandable energies of how to do this and how to break that down. So it's like, and then doing classes and meditations and that sort of thing. So that's kind of the amazing part. Like, don't just be like, one class, I'm here, I'm done, I'm gone.
Right.
No, it's a journey.
Right. And there are classes out there.
There are classes that are out there that people are amazing and can teach amazing things. But my thing is, like, a lot of people can be drawn into like, I want to go just see a psychic and learn about my love life. That's not a spiritual awakening. At all. You're asking someone else to do their, you know what I'm saying, like to deal with your energy or whatever else. And it's not necessarily bad. It's just you're relying on their energy to do this.
And I think that's where the questioning was trying to get us to that place so people can see the difference between just being a little bit interested in it and you're actually becoming aware of some of these things.
And I often tell people, like, the more you learn about each one, when I first started trying to learn like the zodiac signs and started trying to understand like each planetary energy, I didn't try to learn everything about it. I just tried to learn something about it. Like Pluto, that's abundance. You know, Saturn is structure. Like just little bitty things. And then I started adding to that information. So when someone says, Jupiter is trining with Saturn, I'd be like, oh, wow, that's an interesting, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's our abundance going into like a conflict with our structure. Okay. And they'll be like,
it took you a while to get there.
How'd you understand that? Well, that's easy. That means that I'm going to have to, like, the structure is going to have to go, or the abundance is going to have to go for me to be able to learn through this process. But each planetary alignment is meant for you to learn something.
And
from. There's probably out of a month, there's probably 100 different planetary alignments.
So that'll keep you busy for a while.
Keep you busy for a while. But I would say there's some planets that you're more connected to, and so that's great.
I think a lot of times people, when they're having a spiritual awakening, they jump to the hard stuff. For me, I never jumped to the hard stuff. I was kind of resistant in the beginning. And then when I started really getting it, I was like, okay, I'll go with the flow of this. But I remember even maybe last year when I started experiencing dimension shifts, and I never knew this was happening to me until I got to a level where I was like, oh, wait a minute. So this means dimensions. And I would literally be sitting in my car and it would shift. And I would say, wasn't there just a guy standing right there? Or wasn't there an old store right there?
Wasn't there a whatever? Wasn't there a whatever?
It was like the weirdest thing, but it didn't happen at first.
It didn't, but then it like shifts. It used to shift where it was around you, but you didn't see it. And now you're noticing it. You're like, oh. Wow.
And feeling it sometimes, because sometimes I'll even start moving and I'm like, wait a minute, are you moving? Am I moving? Is the car moving? What's going on?
Is the world moving? What's going on around me? Like, what?
Yes. So there's different levels. So you got to start out and just grow. Okay, last question with this topic. It's what's the hardest thing about navigating relationships with people who haven't had a spiritual awakening?
So one of the best things I can tell you with this part is when you are in a relationship, and this could be friends relationship, sibling relationships, brother, sister, aunt, uncle, all that kind of stuff, even marriage relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend, like all of those have their own energy with them. So it's one of those, and usually one person is spiritually moving forward, and the other one could be at the back of the pack.
Right.
And it's one of those, but at some point y'all were pretty close. Otherwise you wouldn't have been able to make a relationship.
Right.
But as the higher person keeps connecting, the other one will be dragged along.
Right.
And everything else. But if the second one goes, I'm tired of this and I don't want this and I don't want to deal with this anymore, I'm over this, that's when the relationship's going to end. But it's one of those, it's also their part. But it's one of those that should never, like, everybody's on their own pathway. And it just means that, like, they need to disconnect this and they need to find someone in their own path areas and keep moving forward.
Wow.
But some people, like, since I've been on the journey, like, I run at it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, people are like, this is going to hurt and healing. Like, okay, here we go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm your sucker. Here I go. I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do this part, or I'm going to keep going. And they're like, seriously? And I'm like, I know, but I want to have different experiences. I don't want to have the same experience every day, all day long. So that's kind of the interesting part of it. But it's one of those, as the higher energy keeps moving forward, it's going to pull that one up until they get to the point where it's like, no. Almost like that donkey in the sand. Like, I'm not going to do this anymore.
I'm not moving anymore.
But the more you clear out the karma, the more you do that, you're going to keep pulling your energy forward.
And you probably shouldn't stop. You probably should just keep going.
But there are times when you sit down the curb and you're kind of like, I've had it for today. I've had some like, Ruth, you're fired. Just go home. Like, get it, like, get over it. And then another point, be like, okay, I'm ready to get back on the path. Like, I'll take a break for a couple of days or an hour or two, and then I'm like, okay, let's go again. Like, and that's all right.
Take a break.
But I'm not going to stop forever. I'm going to keep moving forward. And people will tell me all the time, because I'm more spiritually minded and my husband's not. And that just kind of, like, there's a separation there, but there are very small similarities to what we like and what we don't like. We both agreed on dimensions. He doesn't believe that we can move dimensions. I believe that we do, but we both believe in dimensions. So it's like there's a commonality. He thinks of the planets as just planet energy and nothing else. I see it, the psychic side of it. I can feel the energy of each planet.
So you're that makes sense.
There's some similarities, but then there's also some differences as well.
Well, that's good. I mean, I guess there's hope there.
There is hope, and it doesn't mean that you need to find. I always tell people, like, wherever you're at, you're going to find someone that's a little above you or a little below you. Does that make sense? They're never going to be 100% perfect match, but you're going to find this. But eventually, this person could be like, okay, this is my level. And then you're going to keep growing, and hopefully that person keeps growing with you, even if it's at a slower rate. It's okay. That's all right. But as long as there's a commonality, you'll be okay.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about what we've been talking about?
Not necessarily. I think everybody's kind of like, just like, I think that's kind of the interesting part. Now, to me, I have been working on jumping timelines and jumping dimensions. So that's
on purpose.
On purpose.
Okay.
With Because usually what happens when you are,
You know what it reminds me of? That old sitcom where they go camping and they fall into the earth and they go back to, what was that? Oh my gosh.
lost in space,
Lost
lost in whatever.
Yeah. Oh, it's right there on the tip of my tongue. They fall down into the earthquake and they see all the dinosaurs and
all
stuff.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That one. So kind of the interesting part is a lot of times when you're standing there and you have all these timelines that you can choose from to do something differently. If you change, you know what I'm saying? Like, I normally do this, I'm going to do something completely opposite of what I've done in the past.
Right.
That's going to change that. But it's usually kind of pretty random what you're going to get. I'm learning how to pick the one I want, like which is the highest energy.
That will give you what you want out of it. That's a good thing to do.
So that's kind of what I'm learning.
Yeah.
But I'm also learning about how to flip dimensions. So not just timelines, dimensions. So kind of like, I want to make major changes, or I want to upgrade my energy in different areas. I'm
a little worried about the dimension shifts because I don't want to get caught in another dimension. And I like, something of the lost. And it just came to me and I got it. But I don't want to get caught in a dimension. And then I'm like, how do I get back?
The thing is, though, is if you're shifting dimensions, it's always a good thing.
Okay.
There's still life lessons. There's still things to learn and do and like make mistakes on or whatever else.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of those things. But you're also going to learn different things.
Well, it probably says that you've gotten to a certain point, right?
Right.
That makes sense.
Right. So when hello, Way of the Woman. I think I love her name. Her name is Way of the Woman. So that's kind of she's got some high energy there. So one of the things I will say is every dimension you're on has life lessons.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like no matter where you're at, you still have to clean your house. You know what I'm saying? Like no matter where you're at, no matter what you got a big mansion or you got a little bitty house, you got a little bitty apartment or whatever else. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it doesn't matter. You still have to clean your house.
Yeah.
So no matter what, you're going to learn things.
Right.
And I will say kind of the weird, funny part for me is actually failing is a better way to learn than getting it right the first time. So it's like when I suck at something, I'm like, okay, that sucked. And then I'll take a step back and go, what do I require learning about this?
Right.
What did I learn worked and what did I learn didn't work?
Yes.
And really looking at it and then going at it again. Like, okay, I'm going to take a break. Let me think about this. I'm going to sit on the sideline for a little bit and like, okay, this didn't work. Why didn't it work?
Right.
What do I need to change or modify to get it to work? Or is there a better way to do that? Like, I'm like.
Right. That's to me the hardest soul connection is going through the lesson and then stopping and actually thinking about it. And trying to put together, okay, what did I learn?
What did I learn?
Kind of develop some, not I want to say fears, but I know I'm going to experience these things. And then I got to ask myself, what did I learn? And you don't want to always be in that place where you learn the same thing or you're trying to learn the same lesson, but it happens that way a lot of times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those, I think that's the cool part. I think that's the interesting part is like learning that for you. Learning those lessons for you.
Yeah.
And when you learn a lesson, teaching other people is because there's a lot of times, like we all know, there's times where you've turned around a person who's kind of like lower on the scale than you. Oh, hi, Way of the Woman. How are you doing? She's like, this is the first time she's got my live in a while. I was like, sorry, we've been kind of crazy. But when you turn around and teach someone else, it's kind of like if you were in high school and you found a first grader and they didn't know how to tie their shoe.
Right.
And I don't mean just tying the shoe for them because anybody could do, like high schooler should be able to tie someone's shoe. Like we got that part. But if you teach them how to tie their shoe, then they've learned something. You have changed and shifted and modified and taught them in some very different ways. And I will tell you, the people that really stood up in my life that taught me some amazing lessons usually weren't my family.
Oh, yeah.
Usually they had like just someone would tell me something and I'd just be like, I'm gonna write that down because that's like the best thing I've ever heard in my entire like, oh my god, I'm learning. That's the cool part. That's the like, oh my gosh, lesson in all of that of like, I didn't realize I was going to learn that from someone else. And it's one of those, or in a different way. And for me, it's one of those, I didn't have a great relationship with my mom. So I had many moms that kind of mothered me in some ways over my whole lifetime.
Over your whole lifetime.
And sometimes they would come in for a period of time and then they would leave.
Right.
And then a new one would come in for a period of time and then they would leave. And I would learn these amazing lessons. So it's like kind of like in an amazing way. I didn't have like just one mom. I had like 50 moms.
Right.
That came in. And even now, like some of my neighbors or other people will say things and I'll be like, even if they're younger than me, I'm like, ooh, that's a great life lesson, or that's a great way of thinking about this. It's like, wow. So every time someone does that, you're changing timelines. You're learning something new or different.
I like that idea. I like, the more and more I talk about it, the more and more I like the idea. How should people, I don't want to say how should people feel. They can feel however they want to feel. But let's say you're spiritually awake and you're growing, but then you find your lessons that you're learning, they always seem so basic.
Then stop making the same choice.
Stop making the same choice.
Because if you're making new choices, so like I said, if you go, I'm always going to eat spaghetti no matter what restaurant I go to, I'm going to eat this because I know I can eat it and it's safe and I don't like that. That's one thing. But branch out. Right. Try something new or different. Right. Or like, I'm going to order my spaghetti, but I'm going to do a side of something different. Right. And just kind of getting out of your norm. If you're always like, this is what I'm going to choose and this is what I'm going to go, and you're not growing. You're not growing. Yeah. And learning something different. And I often, like, for a period of time, and I'm getting back in that period of time, which is kind of interesting for me. There was a period of time that I was reading at any given time, anywhere between 3 and 10 books at the same time. Yeah. Like literally, I had a book next to the toilet, and everyone, like I'd sit there and just reading, and then I would set that down, and I'd go to the living room, and I'd have a different book, and I'd start reading, and people were like, "How?" I could literally keep each book separate, and I would learn certain things. And then I also learned sometimes, like, I don't need to read the whole book. No. Sometimes I just need to go, what's the lesson does this book have for me? And
what am I meant to learn from this book? And that's the wonderful thing about nonfiction. I love the Cannon books that I read. I love her books.
Dolores Cannon. That's what we're talking about. Like Dolores Cannon.
Her books. I can jump here. I can jump there. Like I can look through the table of contents. Oh, there's a chapter on Atlantis, and I can jump straight to Atlantis. And I can read.
I like her books. Now I listen to more books on tape. I'm really dyslexic, so that's another thing. I have to deal with dyslexia a lot. So it's easier for me to have someone read the book to me than reread it to myself. Right. So I've probably read several of her books. Yeah,
she has a great way of explaining
things. But I will say there's several books that I have found that are just amazing energy. I feel like I need to tell y'all some of the books I've been,
especially if they'll help with spiritual awakening or help people get to that place.
Let me see.
Land of the Lost.
Land of the Lost. That's what it was. It was like
Land of the Lost. It had that song, but it seemed like they made a dimension shift, and they didn't get back.
They didn't get back. But that's kind of more not sitcom, the way it's like sitcom or whatever else. Like
I feel like dimension shifts are there to make you aware of, to kind of tap you and say, hey, okay, this is a dimension. That's a dimension. Yeah. Remember this, remember that, or.
So I will say some of the basics that I've really loved. Okay. I will say Neville Goddard, always an amazing one. That's from the early 1900s, and he's talking about the law of attraction and assumption and stuff like that. So that is a really great one. I also have been reading one by Cynthia Sue Larson about quantum jumps. So that's kind of one that I'm dealing with. Name It to Claim It. That's always an interesting one with Helene Hadsel. That's a really good one. Joe Vitale is one of my favorites. I can get tired of him though. Yeah. Like I can do it for a while and then he can be a little. So I love a lot of his books and I will go back in and read those. Right. I do like his Ho'oponopono books are really good too.
Those are good. Yeah.
Chariots of the God.
That's a classic.
Okay, now one that I've really gotten into lately is Dimensions by Jack Vallee.
See, I feel like Dimensions have been meditating. People have been
meditating on it. He wrote the book a long time ago.
But still.
But he also has one called The Invisible College, which is a very interesting one too.
I haven't heard of that one, but yeah, he does have some good material.
One of the other ones I thought was really interesting is It Didn't Start With You. is all about healing your lineage and stuff like that, and how to heal your lineage. That was one of those like, interesting.
That sounds like a good one.
And then I do like Edgar Casey in some areas. He can be a little Bible-y at times,
Yeah.
but I do like some of his stuff. Let's see, Breaking the Habit of Being You, Joe Dispenza. That's a good one.
Okay. That speaks to
you are the placebo. That's I've
heard of that
wow.
one. I've heard that one's really good.
Trying to think. Now probably the one that I do the most, the meditation I do the most when I go to sleep, is the I Am Wishes Fulfilled meditation by Dr. Wayne Dyer. That is probably the meditation I've done more. I've probably done it at least 600 times.
Really?
And it's
what
all
do you
it
like
is
the most about that meditation?
It's just the music that just like resonates with me. It's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. So I'm trying to think. Medical Medium, I kind of like that one. I've only read it once or twice. Let's see. Now, Sedona Energy Vortexes are a really good one.
Okay.
By Dick Sufon, something like that. He's a really interesting.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah, he's a very interesting one. Like Dolores Cannon, I didn't like her ones where she did conversations with like Nostradamus as much as I liked like the Custodians of the World. That sort of thing. I just didn't care for that. Or the Diluted Universe. I like that one a little bit better.
That one's really good.
Let's see. I did really like her Between Life and Death.
I haven't read that one yet, but I have it.
That's a really good one.
I got to get into that one. Yeah.
One of the ones I thought was really interesting and kind of taught me to kind of like keep my mind on like changing my thinking in some ways is Jose Silva's books. He taught this to his kids in the 70s and 80s about like how to control your mind and how to morph into energy.
Someone was just talking to me about Silva and the program that he made. Yeah, that he has some really good work.
He does.
It'll change your brain and the way your brain functions
and deals with things. So
those are some good options.
I kind of like them. It's one of those. These are ones that resonate with me. Now, one of the ones that books, and some of them are not necessarily like you would think like a psychic book kind of thing. Gavin DeBecker did a book called. I'm trying to think. He has two books. That one is called Guarding the Gift or Protecting the Gift, but this one is something about fear. Understanding Fear. That one taught me about intuition more than any other book I've ever read.
Really?
Like we're talking like, oh my God, that is amazing. Like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And it was kind of like when people felt the fear and what they did or reacted or didn't react or how they trusted themselves or whatever else. It was like.
Cindy and I were just talking about that. I told her when I first got into education, I did not know how being called to the principal's office as an educator was going to affect me so much. It just reminded me of being a kid.
Like a kid.
Being called to the principal.
But this was all about like that.
But that fear in that moment, I was like, oh my God.
And it's one of those, and people not trusting you where you're going like, I just feel this down in my soul that this is where it is. That was one that was just like, wow.
That's amazing. Probably a good one.
That's a really good one. I've loved that one. I listen to it from time to time, just kind of keep me on that, or I'll watch it or listen to it for a little bit. I think that's kind of one of the interesting ones. There's a couple of others. I'll have to kind of get a list.
You should get a list and maybe 5 easy reads for spiritual awakening for some people, and then some stuff. Of course, I'm already in the Dolores Cannon, but that quantum book, I think I ordered that one. I think I have
Quantum Jumping is really interesting. It didn't start with me. That was always like an interesting one.
Right.
Now I do like the Rhonda Byrne books. The power, the law of attraction and stuff like that.
Yep.
Those are really just good basic ones and always good to go back to from time to time. Like sometimes you just need that little going back to something. A little bit differently. Zero Limits by Joe Vitale is one of my favorites. Zero Limits.
His name sounds really familiar.
Yeah, that's the one that did the Ho'oponopono and stuff like that. So the same guy, but kind of a little bit differently. Like I said, Neville Goddard is always an amazing one. One of the things that interesting, like another book that's not necessarily a psychic book is Act Like a Lady, Think Like a Man.
Oh yeah,
by Steve Harvey.
Yeah, I read
now
that one a long time
because it's one of those, like, he's talking about like the energy that men are
Mhm.
talking about.
Mhm.
He's not saying it that way,
Right.
but if you look at it from a psychic's
Right.
perspective, you're kind of like, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, the energy that fuels their behavior.
Now, one of my absolute favorite ones
Okay.
is called 101 Essays That Will Change the Way You Think, and it's by Brianna West.
Okay. What's that one about? I feel like I've
It
heard
literally,
that one.
it's like 100 little essays that
Little
they have
essays.
like put together that
Mhm.
other people have written, but some
Yeah.
of them are long, some of them are short,
Right,
everything else. But it's just kind of like one of those, like, I never thought about it this way. Like, it's
Mm.
like sometimes it's just the way you think. It's like,
Mhm.
wow, this is amazing. This is like, I never thought this way.
Mhm.
Or this, like, sometimes I'll be like, that is an amazing energy. I have never thought that way before.
And that's really all it takes for a spiritual awakening.
It can. It
That's
can
it.
just be like,
Yeah.
seeing things differently. Kind of
Mhm.
seeing things, and like when someone says something, you're like,
Right. And just like, oh, I never thought about it that way.
and that's a little spiritual awakening. Some
Yep.
of them are big, and some
Yep.
of them are like crazy. Now
Yeah.
we just did what is it, Life Pass
Life
as a video, so that'll be coming out really soon.
Woo!
But for her, it was like this
It
huge
was the
awakening of
for
like,
me.
oh my gosh. And that's kind of the cool part is
Yes.
those are like, so some awakenings are small and some
Right.
awakenings are big.
A big.
Doesn't mean bad, good, or anything
Right.
else. Just means some are like this little like wedge open, and the other
Right.
ones are like full open, like, oh my gosh, that was amazing.
Yep, that's true. The funny thing is, I thought these topics were all not related, but they all turned out to be related.
They all kind of weirdly be related.
I mean,
And so that's kind of the interesting. I like, and there are a lot of books that I've read
Mhm.
that are amazing that have like you wouldn't think of them as having a psychic
Right.
insight, but they really do.
They really do. And those are the books that I think help you to really kind of either start out strong or get going, because you don't get scared away so fast.
Okay, Gavin DeBecker's book is called The Gift of Fear. It just came to my brain.
The Gift of Fear.
The Gift of Fear.
Mhm.
But that is not a psychic book in any way, shape, or form, but it's about intuition. Does that make sense? Like, it's a weird one. You'd be like, what? What? Why?
But so much about intuition is a psychic gift.
It is a psychic gift.
Yeah.
But that's kind of the cool part about
Uh-huh.
it is that you are like not thinking this book is going to teach you that, but it's one of those, it is teaching you to trust your intuition over
Mhm.
everything else in your world. So many times
Yeah.
people go, oh, you're just having a weird feeling, or oh, it's something you ate for dinner, or whatever
Mhm.
else. And you're just like, meh. And then you realize, like,
Uh-huh.
this is really like, this is amazing. Like,
Yes.
he's teaching people to trust your instincts.
Right. And you're meant to have that.
And he
growth.
was an FBI agent. You're like,
Right.
they're
I
so
know what
not
you're talking about now.
like,
Yeah.
like you're just kind of like, whatever. But that's kind of the cool part is like his
Mhm.
understanding of like studying people actually gave me a great insight. And I got his book when it first came out years
Uh-huh.
ago, but it was like gave me that great insight of like
yeah.
trusting my instincts. Like, because I would
Mhm.
still fight with them, and now I'm like, I'll
Mm.
be driving down the road and my angels and guides make it right. I'm over there, baby. I'm
Yes.
coming. Here, watch out, because here I come.
You said a mouthful right
Like
there.
right
Yeah.
there, and I'm doing it. And I
Mhm.
used to argue, like, really, that's going to take me longer to get home,
Right.
and now I'm
Yep.
like, I'm on it.
Follow your right mind is how the older people you say that.
Yeah.
Like, follow your right mind. If you're supposed to go this, go that way. And I find myself doing that. I really do.
That's kind of the cool part about it. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, this is where we're going with this.
So I guess the last topic is I want to know about this retrograde energy that we're fixing to go into. It's right on the cuff of Lionsgate, which is
Okay.
interesting.
So let's reel this back. a bit.
Lionsgate's strong
Okay,
enough
so
as
hold on.
is, ma'am.
Hold
We're
on.
lions.
Hold on. So first off, we have our galactic New Year, or our Mayan New Year.
Yes.
And that starts. It literally our day a day out of time is the 25th,
Okay.
and then the 26th will be our New Year for the Mayan New Year, or our
Right.
galactic New Year, whatever you
Uh-huh.
want to call that. So that's kind of like starting that energy.
That's good. Yep.
So that's a really good energy.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're by time on the 26th, we're already entering the Lionsgate energy. We're
It's already
like, it's
coming
starting to
Mhm.
go up.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to hit a plateau for a few days, and then it's going to slide back down. Now, during all of this, we are going to be in Pluto. We're going to be Mercury in retrograde in the sign of Leo.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, because I've already been this, I always start everything early
Right.
and end it early. So I'm
Right.
kind of like, literally, I couldn't blow dry my hair because my hair dryer wouldn't start. It wouldn't work. So Leo is all about like the vanity, the pride, that looking good and everything else. I did get it to start, so I get to straighten my hair today because it was a little crazy. I go in to start my makeup mirror. It didn't want to start.
Oh wow.
It didn't want to go. So it's like, so we had some technical issues with our pride and our vanity and everything else. So I worked around that. So that's kind of the interesting part.
Yeah.
And so I had some issues with that. I've had computer issues and other things, but it's all about my connection to the other world, to the outside world kind of thing. But it's not necessarily a bad thing.
Right.
This one has been more like who you are in the world. I will say that's kind of what this retrograde's really about, is who you are in the world and how you want to show up in your world.
Oh, wow.
So kind of like thinking about those things, kind of like interesting. Those are going to be the kind of the issues that people are going to have, along with, because we also have other retrogrades going on at the same time, about speaking your truth. So what is your truth about who you are?
Right. Oh, wow.
How do you want to show up in your world? What is your truth? And we've been on a truth thing because we also have Pluto in Aquarius in retrograde. So we're in the Aquarian age. Pluto's in the Aquarian age.
Right.
You know, saying it like it's going to be there for a long time.
Yeah.
It's like for the next 20,
20
something years or something like that.
Yep.
But so Pluto is our planet of things that we want to hide. That high school picture that you didn't look so good in, you want to hide that stuff. We want to decide that's okay. Yeah. But it's one of those, it's also going to be bringing up that energy of like, how do you want to be perceived in the world? And the Aquarian part is like, it's going to come up in some weird ways. Like just like all of a sudden the picture of you from high school is going to be on the internet and you're like, I didn't look good that day. My hair looked a mess. All that kind of stuff. And it's like, but that's also about the whole Doge thing. Things that people want to keep hidden.
Yeah,
coming up in some weird ways.
Isn't that what Aquarian, the age of Aquarium, we've been all anticipating? Things were going to just
and they are.
Yeah.
And so people are just all of a sudden, they're like, all of a sudden, oh, we found this $2 million that so-and-so was keeping. You're just like, well, take that money away from so-and-so. He don't need my money. That's what we're dealing with. That's kind of the crazy part about it. It's like all of that truth is coming out.
So on a personal level of how I wonder how people are going to take this.
And this is going to be hopefully pushing more people towards their spiritual path, because that's where you should be.
Right.
That's your truth of who you are.
That would be
you are a star seed.
Right.
Everybody is.
Right.
We're not all from the same planet.
Right.
But we're all star seeds. We didn't show up here and just like, oh, here we are on Earth. This is what we're going to do now. We came here to do something, and that's bringing up that life path, that like purpose again. Like, where are we going to go? Why are we here? What are we supposed to be doing? And if you think it's your job, you are probably wrong. Very few people do their life purpose as a job.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A lot of people think, well, I'm supposed to be a teacher and I'm a teacher, so done.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a teacher, you teach anything.
And everything else, it's like, and how you teach, and your children and your husband, not necessarily.
Who you teach. It's not always just little kids.
It's not just the kids or whatever else. Right. It's how you teach and how you bring that awareness in, and how do you get them to be excited about what they want to learn and excited about what's coming up. That's the cool part.
And what you're teaching, because there's sometimes that you are supposed to be teaching something that needs to get out into the world.
Right.
Like, you got to be that catalyst. Like with the life, one of the life numbers was someone who communicates, and you got to get it out there. Or
you've got to
someone with a vision, and it's got to go out. Like you don't have a choice.
So it could be that you're supposed to be a teacher, but you're also supposed to be a creator.
Right.
And so what are you creating in your world?
Right. It's when you I'm going to stop teaching math, but now I'm over here teaching about dimensions, or I'm over here teaching about some other meditation, breath work.
And that could be something that someone also brings in the classroom. Like, I thought I was supposed to be a teacher teaching kids, English in second grade, and now I'm teaching them how to calm their energy and relax and that sort of thing. And like, just take a deep breath.
Yeah, take a deep breath. That's a big learning for some people and some kids. It's much needed.
It is much needed in some amazing ways. So that's kind of the cool part. Any other questions you have for me, Miss Tina?
That was it. So we are going to roll into this retrograde and get it all out.
Get it all out. And just know that it's about speaking your truth and
Yeah.
being who you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And yes, we're going to have glitches, and yes, we're going to have
Yeah.
some issues and
Yeah.
technical things and all that kind of stuff. And that's not necessarily bad.
Right.
Just it's part of the thing. And so I go back into what are the basics.
Right.
And it's kind of like when you call for assistance, it's like the basics are,
Mm-hmm.
all right, do you got power?
Exactly.
Is everything connected?
Exactly.
And sometimes I'm the thing that's not connected. So I'm the one that goes, I'm the one who needs to go and meditate for a little bit before I step into all of this energy.
And my last one was, is meditation during the time really important? Look at that.
It is really important. And just enjoying what you're going through.
Yeah.
Like I said, when my computers mess up and things don't go right and all that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I just go, oh, I wasn't supposed to do this right now. So
Yep.
let me go for a meditation or go for a walk out
Mm-hmm.
and do this or whatever else and relax that energy. And when I come back, most of the time it's done.
It's done.
It's like, oh, the internet's back or whatever it is. It's like that makes it so much easier.
Okay, so you're going to give us your book list.
I will make a book list.
Yeah.
It'll be a long book list because
Why does it have to be a long one?
I may do
Give
it
us
like
homework now.
like I may have a couple of them.
Yeah.
I'll say there are several of them that I will say
Yeah.
are really good. Jumping dimensions, jumping timelines, all that kind of stuff.
Something for everybody, like something for people who are just starting out and something for those of us who are
and
really,
more advanced.
Yeah,
That'll be a
more
fun
advanced.
one.
That'll be
Definitely.
This was awesome.
Thank you. I thank y'all so much for joining us tonight, and I know that we'll be talking again soon. Y'all have a great night. Thanks for joining us.